Welcome to this week's episode of Lagnapod. I'm Rob Holbert, your host. Let's see who all's here today. There's a motley-looking crew here today. What are y'all doing?
Ashley Trice.
Brady Petrie.
Dale Leash.
Tommy Hicks.
There's low energy in the room here. We need more energy. We've got a bunch of ship stories here coming in. We have a one that
Let's talk ship.
Let's talk ship. So this one is
full
just
of ship.
this one just came up just yesterday, last night, which we had not heard about.
No.
The the SS United States is coming to Mobile.
It is, at least for a year.
The person who wrote me about it acted like I knew what the SS United States was, which I did not. But
I had
looked
no
it up.
idea either.
Did you?
Yeah.
But tell us about it, since you have
I have
looked it
had
up
to
now.
look up facts this morning for a story that will be coming out sometime today.
Yes, which is Wednesday, which is before
Wednesday, yeah.
before people will have
All
heard
right.
the podcast.
So apparently, and I learned this today, as I'm sure most of you will, the SS United States was the country's flagship ship.
it was the ocean liner.
It was the flagship ocean liner. It's it's larger than the Titanic. I'm not sure how much larger. It's larger than the Titanic, just wide enough to barely fit through the Panama Canal locks.
The old canal, though.
The old canal,
'cause
yeah,
they've
right.
expanded
They've expanded
that,
it since then. But back when it was, I think it was finished. The building was finished like in the 50s, and it did transatlantic journeys for 25 years or so, and then was decommissioned, and has since 1996 has been in Philadelphia,
rusting.
basically,
Yes.
getting real old. And so what they're going to do is they're going to take it by tugboat from Philadelphia and take it all the way to Mobile first. The Mars group, marine salvage people here,
Yes.
that we know famously from the stories about the USS Enterprise, are going to come and prepare it so that it could be sunk off the coast of Destin and become the world's largest artificial reef.
Yes, Ashley.
Do we know it?
You can bring your microphone
They will-
closer to you. Yes.
will take to get it here?
We do. I don't know off the top of my head right now. I'm not looking at it, but it's,
they
it's
will
gonna
be going
along
around the tip of Florida.
It's going to be along
Yes.
the East Coast and around Florida. Yeah.
Yeah, they got to
I mean,
go.
to simplify it.
What I read about it was that basically it has to stay relatively close to shore. They're going to try to keep it as close to shore as possible as they bring it in, to keep it out as much out of the ocean currents as possible.
That's correct.
But it's going to be out in the ocean. Yeah. So, it'll be kind of fascinating.
Mighty Mississippi.
It is not coming down the mighty Mississippi.
No, but I am
from Philadelphia. That's a. I don't.
I was trying to think
That'll
if
be
there
in the
was some
geography
sort of
session
river
that-
situation.
Well, no, it'd be perfect. Like, so I've become a boat guy without a boat now.
Yeah.
Apparently the Intracoastal Waterway that we know, here, can get you all the way to New Jersey. You could take a boat
Intracoastal-
from
you
the
could-
Intracoastal
Yes,
Waterway
that's what
all the
we
way to
said.
New Jersey.
You could
I
take
don't
the
understand
Intracoastal.
why they can't use the Intracoastal Waterway. Maybe it's too big.
Because
I guess it's too big.
The ship is too large.
Yeah, I guess. I've seen some pretty
Not
large.
a river liner.
Yeah, but I've
It
seen
is.
some
It's
pretty
not
large.
a Viking cruises. No,
I've
is.
seen
This is a
I've
big
seen
boy.
some pretty large boats on the like barges and stuff on the
Yeah.
Intracoastal Waterway. So I'm just curious, but
Well, so this thing though is like kind of harkens back to the Titanic.
It's very
Lusitania,
Titanic-y, yes.
it's the old days. This is not your fun ship, the Disney cruise ship. It doesn't have any giant slides on it or anything like that.
no, it wouldn't.
This is a old school ocean liner.
Like you might have played shuffleboard and trousers.
Yes. Yeah. There might have been badminton. Maybe badminton. That would be the most exciting thing that occurred.
No water
Right.
slides. No.
Yeah.
I'm going on a cruise next year, and it's got a roller coaster. No roller coasters.
Yeah, there will be
on
no
this one.
roller coasters and none of that stuff. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see it. It'll probably be 3 weeks before it ends up in Mobile.
Yeah, it's going to take a while. We will be updating the story now.
It's somewhat weather dependent.
Now that we know, yeah. In fact, I think they've had to delay the voyage for a little while because of weather.
Yeah.
So we're still waiting. It has not left Philadelphia yet, but once it does, we will
now
know.
that they've decided to wait until getting close to wintertime in mid fall to
Correct.
go, they're going to have weather problems.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be pretty rough out there.
Anyway,
Tell us some more facts
more
about
facts.
this. More facts, Dale. We need more
I'm waiting.
facts. Kyle's not here to go to the
I was
historical
about to say,
part.
we need Kyle here.
A little
more than
inside baseball on this story is I'm working to get it up as quickly as I can, waiting on some interviews. And while I waited on interviews, I went to the SS United States Conservancy website, which is a group dedicated to the preservation of the USS or the SS United States.
Judging from the outside of it, they've not been doing a great job.
No. It's not been
It looks like it's
successful at
got
this
eczema.
point. Unless they're going to call me. If they're going to call me and give me an interview, then they're the greatest organization of all time.
Yes.
No. So 4 U.S. presidents have traveled on the SS United States, including Bill Clinton, who did it as a student.
He was not president at the
He
time.
was a student. No, he was not. He just got out of Georgetown and was headed on a Rhodes Scholarship to
Were the
Oxford.
other 3 presidents when they did it?
I think so.
Were they
Dwight
all-
D. Eisenhower, John F. Kennedy, and Harry Truman were all
So
on
3
it.
presidents and a future
president.
Yeah.
Correct. Bunch of stars have been on it. Marlon Brando, Marilyn Monroe, John Wayne, you name it, they've been on it. It's apparently was a big deal.
It was a
back
pretty
in the
famous
day.
ship at the time until transatlantic air flights really started
off.
knocking the wind out of its sails. No pun intended.
No pun intended.
And then pun fully intended. But anyway, but it's been sitting there forever, rusting
It's been sitting
away.
there since 1996 in port in Philadelphia, just waiting for its time to shine. And now that time to shine is it's going to become an artificial reef, which I got to tell you will be cool as all get out if they sink that thing as is.
You can go underwater and see an ocean liner on the bottom without having to explode in the depths of. You can do that.
Yeah, if only those guys that wanted to see the Titanic had waited a year or so.
Yeah. They can
There would have
have
been no ocean
They
gate.
can have that experience
How
without
deep is it going to be? It's in depth off
a
to
couple
the...
hundred feet.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Like you'll be able to see it from like a glass bottom boat, pretty much, if it's clear. That's a big change from the
you're
Titanic.
going to stick it in Crab Island or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
Boy.
it's going to be. It'll be more accessible to the billionaires.
And to rednecks.
And to rednecks.
Let's be honest.
I mean,
how much fun is a redneck going to have down on that thing? Like trying to free dive.
the current biggest one over there is an old aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
That was sunk out there, and I was reading up on that because of this story, and it sounds like it's some pretty cool stuff to do. It's now that segue here. Speaking of aircraft carriers,
USS.
so we're talking about once again another ship coming here, this time to be not decommissioned but be just torn apart.
Correct.
Is the USS Enterprise, the world's first nuclear powered aircraft carrier.
Stardate 2024.
Yes, Jim T. Kirk was there on board. It's taken a lot of Klingon damage over the time, but so it's coming here. Or the thought is, we have a group bidding to get it here and trying to get that job.
And it's the same marine salvage company that's doing the work on the SS United States. Correct.
Mars, and so the interesting part about all that is that we've had the Chamber of Commerce come up a couple of weeks ago and say we don't want it here. It's going to be bad for the city.
It would hurt the city's reputation, I think, was part of the
I still think
rationale.
that is kind of like really bizarre stuff. This is like a $500 million job. But as we've looked more into it, I was like, this is not anything new. The Navy has done 130 of these nuclear decommissioning, and it's part of a sub and ship recycling program that they're doing. So
Correct.
I mean, they've had all these issues with, these older ships have had to get rid of them over the years. I mean, they used to just let them sit there until they holes rusted in the bottom of them, and then stuff spilled all over the place. At one point, in looking things over it, they took I guess this was back in the 50s, in the very late 50s, they took a nuclear reactor out of one of the early nuclear subs and threw it in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean just to get rid of it. Those days have changed. But in talking to some people and seeing things, apparently we've already removed in this area. There's been a basic program going on, sort of getting ready for this sort of thing. And they've already removed 8,000 tons of radioactive material. And this is low level radioactive material. So, and from what people were talking to or saying, if somebody, at least a guy involved with some of this stuff, was saying, we've got an entire class of aircraft carriers that will have to have this
They're
done.
gonna have to do the exact same
This
thing.
could
right?
be a job for the next several decades. Maybe.
Correct.
And it's kind of strange to me that the Chamber of Commerce is blasting this program when it has the opportunity to be a big deal for the community. And it does. I mean, the Navy's done this. There's been no environmental problem with it.
Right.
It's kind of strange that's where the chamber is, because they, as I wrote in my column, they're not exactly known for getting involved with environmental stuff and taking the side of environmental issues.
That's been the thing, right? Like usually they take the side of job creation,
business, no matter what.
Yeah, and
I mean,
it seems like there have been some projects that are questionable from an environmental standpoint.
They're fully on record being, in favor of the coal ash being buried. They lost their mind over the Baykeeper filing suit against the
port for the dredging. Right.
It's not against the port. They filed suit against the Army Corps of Engineers.
You're correct. I apologize.
And it wasn't about the dredging. It's about the deliverance of the spoils.
Thank you for correcting.
But anyway,
right.
So I mean, that was, they got kind of nuts about that. They were in favor of that logistics center out that may have some serious issues with Rabbit Creek. So
yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying,
it just seems
they haven't typically been, environmentally forward on all this stuff.
Environmental warriors, so to speak.
And then but they're worried this is going to damage the reputation of the city. I don't know. To see a giant aircraft carrier out there is pretty cool.
I mean, it's it's unscientific, but the poll question this week was: do you think that the dismantling the USS Enterprise would hurt the city's reputation? And it was by far the readers of Lagniappe Daily online said no.
Yeah,
it would not. I think it was 80 some percent said no.
I mean, we do have like a mountain of coal out there on the side of the of the river. I'm not sure exactly what damage this will do.
And that's
to our
the thing too.
reputation.
Like not to mention all the smashed cars that they've just have
there's
a million nasty
Here's the thing,
things.
and I'm not trying to poo-poo the idea, but like this Riverwalk thing is going to be amazing. This hotel, condos, the idea that we might have a pool that extends out into over the water could be amazing. Like that idea is amazing.
100% excited about it.
I'm a little surprised that there's that much demand for waterfront access on a working port, but to each their own, I guess.
It's fun to watch the ships, man.
It is. It is. I
like looking at them.
And like I said, I'm not poo-pooing the idea. I'm happy for it's great.
Poo-pooing.
It's great for the city. It's great for the city, but I'm like, we already have all, like you said, the coal all the coal stuff is there. We've got those big tanks that hold all number of manner of chemicals and things. So like, that's still there, and they're still putting so what's a ship? It's one thing. Like,
I don't get it, and from what I've been told, the chamber has been aware of this. This discussion's been going on for a couple of years.
There's been comment periods, and
nobody ever said anything during the comment period. But now it's like it's a bad thing. I don't know. We're going to look more into it and see what's going on with it. But I would like a better explanation out of them is exactly what they think would be so bad about it, because it doesn't sound like it's anything terribly out of the ordinary. And it does sound like some, a pretty lucrative thing happening here.
It does.
And potential for people to make
Would
some money
you say
and
it's
job.
a bunch of bullshit?
Oh, my goodness. That was high quality. On that note, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back with Tommy Hicks.
Podcast is sinking.
And talk about this podcast. The podcast is firing an SOS signal. We are in trouble. Taking on water here. We'll be back in just a few minutes. And we are back. It is full-on football fever, and then there's basketball and all sorts of stuff. But we also have officials here coming down to Mobile to look at the potential of having more football in Mobile, right? Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful thing. Alabama High School Athletic Association officials, mainly Executive Director Heath Harmon and one other member of the board, were here Monday to do an on-site visit at Hancock Whitney Stadium. As a lot of people know, The Super 7 was in a 3-stadium rotation prior to this year, involving Alabama, Auburn, and Protective Stadium, which is UAB's new stadium in Birmingham. Well, Alabama and Auburn, because of the playoff situation now where they could possibly have to host a home game that week, have dropped out of being a host site now. So the AHSAA is seeking accepted bids from cities that might be interested in hosting, and Mobile was one of those. Apparently, from what we understand, there are 4 cities involved in hoping to get into the rotation, and that would be Birmingham, which will be Protective Stadium, which is already there, and it's going to be played there this year. Mobile at Hancock Whitney on South Alabama's campus. Troy has entered it for Memorial Stadium, Troy University Stadium, and then Montgomery also with Alabama State, and I would assume Crampton Bowl would be a backup if needed. Some of the issues and things that could be a problem with UAB, Alabama, South Alabama, and Troy, and Alabama State would be if you're part of your division championship.
Yeah.
A lot of those are played the same week. So, would you have a contingency plan for that? So I think that's all an issue. What I was told is there are 2 concerns involving Hancock Whitney would be, one, they prefer 4 locker rooms because you have 3 games a day.
Yeah.
And you have to rotate out. They only have 2 at Hancock Whitney. And the other issue was, for some reason, the AHSAA needs 30 or 31 suites. They prefer 31 suites because of sponsors and team officials and that sort of thing. There are only like 11 at South. But I think they will address that issue by using that Hancock lounge area on the second floor.
Right.
You could house some people there. You could take the Michelob Ultra section in the one end zone there where, you've seen it. Some games they put tents.
Sure,
there.
Right. Yeah, the president has parties there and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that would be an issue. The only issue might be the locker rooms, where I think they are prepared, and part of their bid, this is guesswork on my part, but part of the bid was probably that they would construct temporary locker rooms that would be used for it's usually the even-numbered schools play on each day. So you take the 1A, those 1A teams, which are smaller numbers, and build the temporaries for them, 1A one day, 2A the other day. So that could work out.
Sounds like portable trailers would work just fine.
Yeah, maybe
I
not
think
that.
so.
Yeah, maybe not that. But I think, Mobile's got a really good chance of getting into the rotation because they're already involved with the AHSAA by hosting the North-South All-Star Game every year. And in alternate years, they host the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star Game. So we'll see. Should probably announce something, I would think, the week of or maybe prior to the Super 7. So we'll see how that part goes.
So South did pretty well last week. They managed not to blow it at the end, right?
They did. They held on. They beat Louisiana, first team in the league to beat Louisiana.
Yeah.
So that, it's you watch them and you go, oh, gosh, I could have won these, I could have won this.
Right.
Well, they're still in it.
Yeah.
This week they play Southern Miss, which is 1-9, 0-6 in the league. So they should, on paper, should win that game. That would give them 6 wins and they're bowl eligible.
Yeah.
But if they win out and either Troy or Louisiana Monroe were to defeat Louisiana, which is their final 2 games, then that would end up being, and if Arkansas State wins out, that's 3 teams in the West that would have 2 losses. And by a tiebreaker, South would be the West champion.
Okay.
And would go to the championship game.
Well, that's exciting.
After all of the stuff that's gone on, oh gosh, they're out of it. They're not out of it. They're in it. They're out of it.
God, they've got to be kicking themselves over some of those really close losses.
Absolutely. I mean, you got Georgia Southern.
Yeah.
You let them score 20 in the fourth quarter.
They had Georgia Southern in the bag, and
the Arkansas State game they had, they let that one get away. I mean, there's a lot of games where you just say, man, if we had just done this, they'd be sitting pretty. But
well, they
still got a shot.
It's good stuff. All right, it's good stuff. What else we got going on this week?
High schools, we've got 5 teams left. We got 2 of them playing each other. So UMS is at Viger Friday night in 5A. That winner will go to the semifinals. All of these winners will go to semifinals games. The only other home game in town is Spain Park is at Saraland. That's a 6A game. St. Michael went up last week and beat the number 2 team, Pleasant Grove, at their place. So they are playing at Fairfield this week. And if they win, they will likely get a rematch with the only team that has beaten them, which is Jackson, the number 1 ranked team in the semis. And then Bayside Academy.
Ashley's alma mater.
Yeah.
Go Aggies.
And then Bayside.
Spoken like the person who was the Aggie. She was the Aggie for a while.
It means a little more.
Yeah, you could tell. You could see that.
You could hear the
mascot
enthusiasm.
fired up. Yeah.
We've seen the dance. It's
seen
awesome.
the Aggie dance
It's
is
the
good.
walk.
It's the walk.
Sorry.
It's not the dance.
I thought it was the Trump.
Yeah. It looked like it a little bit.
Then,
You got that from me.
Yeah.
you got to have the arm movement, though. That's the key. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the pitchfork in the hand.
You got a pitchfork.
I am not getting anywhere near Ashley with a pitchfork. I know that. Bayside is at Southside Selma.
Okay. All right.
And then college playoff yesterday.
Yes. Yeah. Tell us about the college playoff.
Okay.
We know who's what right
we
now.
Know who
currently,
is
as
currently
it
ranked
stands.
right now.
Until
As it
this coming
stands
weekend.
right now, your first round games will be number 12 BYU against number 5 at Ohio State. Number 11 Georgia would be at number 6 Penn State. Number 10 Ole Miss would be at number 7 Indiana. And number 9 Alabama would be at number 8 Notre Dame. Now, the winners of those games, that's where it gets fun. The Alabama-Notre Dame winner not goes to because they'll be through the bowls, but they would play number 1 Oregon.
Okay.
Mississippi-Indiana winner would play Texas.
Okay.
The Georgia-Penn State winner would play Miami. And the BYU-Ohio State winner would play Boise State.
Okay. All right.
So it's getting, but it'll
change. It's likely to change, but it's pretty interesting.
But it's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
also some interesting. Alabama, Notre Dame, and then if Alabama wins, they get Oregon. That's if you're my friend down here on the end, you're kind of thinking that's quite the road to have to travel.
Yeah, and that's not including if we win out and Missouri wins 1 of 2 games against Mississippi State or Arkansas. We play in the SEC title game. And if we lose that, we have 3 losses. What happens then? So, it's
I was saying we talked about this last week, but
I know
Saban was talking about it.
It's a real possibility.
He was talking about this on game.
And Notre
day.
Dame doesn't have to play a championship game.
His point was, Nick Saban was saying, hey, they really need to talk about strength of schedule needs to play a bigger role in these things because he's like, look, these championship games, you're playing an extra game. It's got to count for something. I mean, we could easily have a situation this year where you have 3 teams with 2 losses, and that 3rd team sitting out with two losses in the conference, and those 2 that play are going to whoever loses that will be jumped over.
Yes,
yes,
it's a real concern for your boy.
Better win that game, hadn't you?
Yeah, it's pretty possible. But anyway, well, that's
if Jalen plays the way he's played against LSU, it won't be a problem. But we'll see what happens the rest of the season.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. It's that's why they play the games.
That's why they play.
Well, thank you, Tommy. We appreciate it. It's always interesting to keep going off with the playoffs thing. Well, we'll be back in a moment, and we'll talk a little bit more.
Playoffs.
Yeah, that's nice. Thank you. That's the best Jim Moore I've heard.
Thank you.
We'll be back. And we are back. Scott Johnson has joined us.
Greetings.
Scott, you've been talking to the mayor's race is something that is kind of looming behind the scenes. Everybody wants to know who's going to run, who's not going to run. And I suspect once we get past the beginning of the year, we'll hear a lot more about that. But,
I think so too.
One of the names that is at the top of everybody's list of people who they think will run is Connie Hudson, County Commissioner. You talked to her a little bit about it.
Yeah,
what you had to say.
It was kind of funny because I went and covered the swearing in of the county commission. So she's currently swearing into her for 4th term in the county, but also she's kind of she's on, one of the top rumored names on this short list of potential candidates. So I just asked her, you're swearing in, we had heard rumors that she had been hiring campaign staff.
Yeah.
So I just asked her about it, and she didn't really want to answer that, I guess, just because she's kind of entering into the new county term. But she didn't say no, so it's very hinting at yes, probably, and anyway.
But she did say she's thinking about it, right?
She has said that previously,
Yes,
absolutely,
yeah.
and prayerfully considering is how I think she.
That's
put
exactly
it.
how she.
Wait for the Lord to tell you you're going to be the mayor.
Yeah, and I talked to John Gray,
Yeah.
political consultant. He kind of also confirmed that her name's been in the running there, and but he didn't know about a final decision. But so I think it's definitely a good possibility, strong possibility that she's there, and she's gonna probably be a very competitive choice. So
Yeah, I mean, I think she would be one of the top names, but there's still a lot to be between here and
I mean,
there,
it's a
think.
year
Yeah.
from now. We're
Yeah.
talking about a year from
It's a
now.
long
Well, the
way.
swearing in is a year from now.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
the
election
will be in
August.
August.
Right.
So you've got about 9 months right now. I mean, I think you're going to see it at the beginning of the year. I mean, the names we keep hearing, but the same names you hear. But I've also heard that I've heard there's a nebulous
There will
business
be-
person who will be well funded who will come
There will
in,
be
but
a
I don't
lot
know who
of-
that is.
There will be a lot of candidates.
Yeah.
There will be a lot of candidates, and some names that I've heard about will be strong contenders for. It's going to come down to who gets the It's going to come down to who gets the business people to back them. That's kind of what changed the tide for Stimson in his first race.
And I think if Stimson endorses, that'll be very
Stimson
important.
might endorse. I don't know if
Will Sandy Bear endorse? I don't know. We
I
don't
don't
have.
have. I was going to try to make a
We
joke,
just
and I
don't
don't
know.
have anything.
Sorry.
No, it's all right.
Nothing.
in terms of just like track record, and maybe not track record, but success politically, I mean, she's not lost a single election.
She's very popular.
And she's not, even though county races have been kind of a cakewalk for her since she got into the county. I mean, when she was elected in 2010, she had to beat out 5 other candidates to replace Steve Nodine. So it was a kind of crowded race there. And then when she was replacing Bess Rich in 2001, when Bess Rich ran for mayor, she was up against 6 or 7. So she has this kind of ability to rise above competition. She's again undefeated in any election she's been in, but we don't know who's going to enter. So you could see, I don't know how serious of a potential Jerry Carl. I've heard his name float around. I don't know.
There's a bunch of names I've heard.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard a ton of them. But
I think that with her though, she avoids the sort of political polarization that Jerry Carl will inevitably fall into because of his not that she's not also a Republican and they probably share a lot of the same views, but he was in Congress, right? And so he was more front and center about those views than she would. So I think people would view her as more moderate. Whether or not that's true is another thing. And you're going to have to be, if you're a Republican, you're going to have to be a little bit on the moderate side.
I mean, when you're running for mayor, there's not a ton of opportunity to get politically, to talk about national politics or to take
Nor should
stances
there
on
be. It should
to
not be
take
the
stances on
focus.
things that
Yeah.
are on national, the immigration issues or abortion, things like that are not coming up in the mayor's race.
That's right.
I mean,
and
in the mayor's race, we're talking about jobs and trash and crime and things like that.
And to his credit, Sandy has been a very moderate mayor, all the way through. I think he's been he's kind of taken the mantle of nonpartisan mayor to heart.
I think Sandy's probably I'm sure his national politics are pretty conservative, but
I would assume so. Yeah.
But I doubt, but
you don't really see that though.
Sit around
Right.
thinking wonder what he thinks about Trump or Biden. That's not, fortunately, that's not been part of the mayor's job,
And it shouldn't be.
And thank goodness.
I hope it never does. I don't need a Twinkle Kavanaugh situation where every ask her for to pass a pen or something, and it's something about the Biden administration. It's just the PSC people are constantly turning their campaigns into referendums on national matters, and because they don't want to talk about what they actually do.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different story.
Connie's also positioned pretty well in terms of her just personal career. You don't have to leave county office to run for mayor. City councilors
she could maintain her office and
if
still
she
run.
loses, she still has a county seat to fall on.
It's a safe run for her at this point.
Can I get on a soapbox for a second?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that should be the case. I think I would like to see a rule somewhere that says you got to quit the office you're currently in to run for a new one. I would like that. I know that they're not going to ever do that, but I would like that.
I'm sure that was probably some of her reticence in talking about this while she's being sworn in for a job she just
This
got
is
elected
not the
to.
time, young man.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like
wait till January
you're getting
5th.
sworn in. Do you want another job already? I mean, I could get
and I get that would be her coming out and saying, my next job is going to be mayor is distasteful, right?
Sure. But it is politics, and that's the way it is.
But I would just like for them to say you got to quit your current. Like again, judges have to
again, but by the same token, we already have a hard enough time getting qualified candidates. Sometimes if you're going to make it more difficult for somebody, even people who are qualified, who are good people, I don't know. I'm on the fence on that one. I don't have a real big issue with her running for mayor if she's a county commissioner.
Well, it definitely discourages the city councilors because even though they might be the best, they're on the ground, they're front lines, they know the issues, they know all the people. They've been doing it for 2 to 4 years. So
and talking to counselors, they do all seem reticent to give up the seats they have now to run for a seat that they're uncertain about.
Right.
The ones that I've talked to and asked, I've gotten a various as everyone who's read the paper knows, I've gotten a various range of answers from heck no, from two council people to if everything falls perfectly in line, I'll do it.
And that is a good point. That your point is that she gets a free run.
Yes.
If you're a city council person, you're putting your job on the line.
Yeah.
So that is.
I don't know. For some reason, I just have this feeling it's going to be someone we have not even discussed yet.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know why. That's my.
There's some names I've heard of that I'm reticent to discuss here that might be a good choice. All
right, we've used the word reticent 3 times now.
That's me. I'm sorry.
No, I used it once. You used it twice. We're going to drop it now. Okay.
It's like I was watching a baking show. A British, not the Bake Off, but a British style baking show, and the guy used stodgy like 50 times.
Yeah.
So I get it. Like you don't want to hear stodgy a million times.
Say basil.
They all say basil. That's how they say that stupid word.
I can't. I want to burn my TV down, or I'll tear it off.
We fought a war, so we wouldn't have to hear basil anymore.
British baking is incredible TV, but
it is,
and I just can't handle.
Sorry, we got way off topic here.
We are a little bit, and go back to one of the things that Connie would have in her favor.
Going back to Connie. All right,
we're going right back to Connie. One of the things that we have in her favor is the what she's done out there with the soccer complex and the sports complex.
Segue. Yeah,
that's what we call a segue in this business, Dale. And so, that's another thing you wrote about this week is the purchase of more land for more space out there to do more things.
And that has been a very popular move on her part to really champion this thing. People are excited about it, and now we could get a water park out of it. Right?
It's one of those things. If it works out great, it's a big win. But
we had a lot of questions in the beginning. I was here when that started. We had a lot of questions.
It's still a program, and I think it's a good thing. That's fine. It's going well. It's got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it does need to be used. And so you're putting your money where your mouth is on it, which,
there's also nothing wrong with asking questions and holding people accountable for decisions.
Will use it.
I do too. But I am 100% for the natatorium. I think that's wonderful. For the soccer
that's something
complex,
we desperately need. Yes.
A water park seems like maybe
a little
more
bit of a
toward
stretch.
A private venture.
It is.
I would lobby.
The water park is going to have private venture.
But still, just
because of insurance purposes.
Completely private, though. And we need indoor tennis courts before we need a fun water park.
I'm a little more.
I hear you.
I'm a little more skeptical of the water park than anything. But it's just. But those things remain to be seen, and they're certainly none of those are going to come to fruition prior to this election. So it is a positive for her, I think, at this point, because right now it's just some soccer fields out there, and I don't really know that we have.
But that's what you wrote about, right? Is that the kind of moving forward with the water
I'm just
park
saying
plans?
that Gulf Shores didn't
Okay.
build Waterville for it, right? Correct. It's just a private venture.
Correct.
Yeah.
yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah, and
Same with OWA.
apparently they've likened their plans or their idea of it reflects Waterville and stuff like that. They want the shops, they want the
Didn't the
same
people that designed the water park at OWA aren't they in conversations with this one too?
I think the business recruiter is the same. But so they just agreed to purchase 48 additional acres from a woman who lives out in Texas.
Probably the same woman that got the land back from
from
the stadium.
She was one of them. I know whenever they bought the land initially, I think her name was on the list. So she's had these sections of land. It's at the corner of 65 and I-10. So they've been slowly amassing that corner for county property. So it's going to be a pretty big complex out there. Again, it's only 3 soccer fields right now, but there's millions and millions of dollars set to just get poured right into that place.
It'll be known as Connieville eventually. But yes, it's nice. I mean, it's a big project out there. We'll see what comes of it, but it'll be several years, I think, before we can all look at it and say this has been great, it's been okay, or it's been not great.
And
but I think public perception to this point has been successful for Connie and the county commission.
And does the project go forward well without her?
Correct.
This has been a very her project. She's carried this on her shoulders.
She leaves to become mayor.
She has definitely made it happen. There's no doubt. I mean, she has fought hard to have that thing happen. So she gets the kudos from it. There's no doubt. But it's going to be fascinating to see where we are with the mayor's race in a few months. I think it's going to shape up a lot more within. I think by March we're going to know a whole lot more.
It'll be January, February. I'm pretty sure we'll start
we're
getting
know
announcements.
a whole lot more. So we'll see what comes.
Should be fun.
Well, that's all we have for this week, folks. We will be back next Thursday on your Thanksgiving Day. You can eat and then digest while you listen to
Maybe we'll put it out a
Magnify.
day early so people can.
Maybe we will. Maybe we won't.
Listen to it on
We'll
their
see.
way.
Skip those terrible Thanksgiving football games and listen to us instead because they will be terrible.
Yeah, well, my Cowboys are going to be playing. It's going to be a beat up. They're going to get beat down. Somebody's going to score 50 on them. So it's not good.
Do you still have a head coach?
I hope not.
The
Anyway.
stadium's falling apart.
As of this recording,
It's all a mess. The
Stadium's
whole
not
thing.
falling apart. They just need curtains.
Yeah, they need curtains. I don't know why they built it that way. Anyway, we're going to end it right here. We hope everybody has happy Thanksgiving. We'll be back next week.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
The Lagnapod is a Something Extra publishing production. Executive producers are Rob Holbert and Ashley Travis. Music is by Sun Pulse Sound and Electronic Animals. Only subscribers like you have access to this podcast. Tell your friends they can sign up at my.lunyapredbill.com. For advertising opportunities, please call 251-450-44